Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm here with James and his business partner Gary, whose importing horror story could have easily banished them from Amazon. Before we dive in, I want to let everyone know that our new service will be launching in the very next email. Thank you for bearing with us. We know you will love what's coming. But today I wanted to talk about the changes at Amazon and share an importing horror story that could have ended our guests' Amazon career on their very first import. If you've been following us in our Facebook group, we've been talking a lot about Amazon the past couple of days. A lot of sellers are being banned from Amazon and you don't know the full story. The market is being flooded with newbie sellers who are unknowingly disregarding proper protocol. So some things that are common offenses are including illegally imported IP products, failing to meet compliance requirements like FDA, CPSC, and FTA, working with unreputable sellers on Amazon. These low MOQs are not helping your business. Failing to do proper quality control inspections before sending them off to FBA. These big brands would never do this. And using a questionable service to game reviews to move products and or boost your BSR. All of this led to Amazon getting a lot more stringent and starting to ban suppliers. And while some are victims, many are not. Our new service will ensure that you never get banned from Amazon. We will allow you to compete with the big boys without ever violating Amazon's terms of service. And on that note, I want to introduce you to James and Gary. Guys, thank you so much for having us today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Thanks.
James, do you want to tell us a little bit about how your partnership with Gary started and how this business kicked off and what it is that you do?
Yeah, sure. So Gary is an Amazon veteran. He's been selling, and I'll let him talk a little bit about that, but he's been selling on Amazon for quite some time. I am an Amazon newbie and am interested in just new income streams and new business. So I partnered up with Gary. He's been a good friend of mine, and I knew what he was doing on Amazon. Never really knew if there was an area, a space for me there. And we started talking about private label products and started carving out a niche in Amazon's selling service. And that's sort of where it started.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So James said that Gary is a bit of a veteran. Gary, can you talk a little bit about your experience with selling on Amazon?
Yeah, we started back in September of 2011 selling. We'd sold for years on Amazon, just here and there, but we started selling professionally in 2011 and just have grown with the retail arbitrage, online arbitrage model primarily for the last 4 years. And about probably 3 years in, we decided that private label was something we wanted to explore, and we actually scheduled a trip to China in March and went over and bought some products. And then when I got back, I was talking to Jimmy about it, and we decided to partner up and do this product.
Nice. Okay. So James, tell us a little bit about this first product, how you got started with it, and sort of what happened leading up to actually receiving the products.
Yeah. So we did a lot of research on Amazon, for what product we wanted to source. Found a product that we felt would be an easy one to step into, relatively low dollar, as well as on the buy side and good turnaround profit. Seemed really easy to make. It seemed like there wasn't a lot you could mess up with this specific product, and so got on Alibaba, found one of their I guess seemingly top-rated providers. Had all the emblems, all the decals that you could ever get. We used trade assurance. We researched a bunch. And the one we chose, again, it had everything that you could ever imagine. Good ratings, good response time. The rep was great. And they had the product we wanted, made a couple modifications, did some sampling, had 2 or 3 sample orders. Got the samples looked good. We made some changes, got a second set. They looked good. One more change. And at that point, we signed a contract with them, put trade assurance in place. All this done through Alibaba, and basically it was dependent upon one more change in the sample. They made the change in the sample, sent us the third one, and it all looked good. So we sent them the money, and off we went. Got the shipment about I think a month and a half later, which was about within the time that we expected. And it showed up, and almost all of them were damaged or defective. Our product had glue involved. There was some putting together of aspects of the product, and there was glue all over almost all of them. Glue that was not supposed to come off. So it wasn't like you could just flick it off. It was
Right.
glue everywhere. A lot of them were falling apart. Our logo was doubled or missing on a lot of them. It just it was sort of like you said in your intro, sort of a nightmare. Fortunately, we did our own quality check, and so we didn't send them directly into Amazon. So we saved ourselves there, but that's sort of our horror story.
Wow. So let me get this straight. You found the supplier, and the supplier had everything possible. They had the gold. They were a gold level seller on Alibaba. They could do trade assurance. They were
Yep.
they were location verified. How long were they a gold supplier for?
I think this one was maybe a 3 or 5 year gold supplier.
Okay.
So
At least 3. I know.
I think it was at least 3. Yeah.
Okay. And then so you felt confident based on those, what we say, decals on Alibaba. Right. You received samples from them. The samples looked good enough for you to sign off on, but then
samples. Yeah, the samples are great. I mean, they're really good.
And then when you signed off on the production began. Right when the production finished, what happened? They finished the production and shipped them directly to you guys?
Right. So right when production finished, we did ask for like photos of the samples. We thought, they look good in the pictures. We should be okay. They sent a handful of photos. A couple of the brushes of the items individually, a couple of the boxes open and that sort of thing. And so we felt like that looked good, and we signed off and said, "Let's go."
Okay. Yeah, and part of the problem was a lot of the damage happened because of shipping. So even if all the pictures were great, one of the things that was wrong with many of them was the fact that the lacquer on this product was chipped off because of the way they had packaged them poorly. So even if they had looked good in the picture, by the time we got them to us at our door, they were half of them probably had defects because of the poor packing.
So how much of this do you think was defective from manufacturing and versus defective through packaging? You think 50%?
Yeah, I would say at least.
Yeah, because some of the things, many of them that were defective from packaging were also defective from manufacturing standpoint.
Okay. Okay. Did you ever at any time talk about, you mentioned that you wanted pictures. The pictures that you did receive, did they resemble, were these pictures basically they just handpicked the best looking ones, the usable ones essentially? And
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying is
because there are some of the product we received is sellable. It is good. It looks good. It is what for the most part we wanted. So I'm sure they grabbed out a handful of the best and took pictures of those. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Okay, Gary, how did you ship the products?
We shipped them air.
By air. Okay. Using which company?
Jimmy, I don't know. What do we use?
I think it ended up being FedEx. I remember right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it the factory that handled all of this?
Yes.
Or did you use a freight forwarder?
Nope. No, the factory handled it all.
Okay. So initially, the biggest red flag. I mean, from a newbie importer, you were on the right track. You were doing the right things. You were focusing on everything that Alibaba was telling you to focus on, which is look at what we verify. Unfortunately, the lesson learned by you guys is you can't just focus on this. It's really not beneficial to just look at whatever companies are paying other services for to say that they're legitimate, and you need to take steps into your own hands. But it sounded like, again, you were seemingly doing the right thing. You did order samples. Mm-hmm. You did ask for pictures. I get it. It's one of those things where you feel so strongly that you did do the right thing, but unfortunately, from our point of view, there was a huge chunk here missing. That if you guys did this, you probably would not be facing the same experience. And the main thing here is what we try to teach people is you want to have what's called a quality gate. And you had quality gates essentially leading up to everything. So a quality gate is before a big step is moved forward, there's some type of quality assurance in place. And essentially, if we walk through your process, your sourcing, your quality gate was Alibaba was using their decals, looking on finding a gold supplier, finding someone with trade assurance. So that was good. That was a quality gate. There's other ways to do that that you can learn, but as just a very quick way that was your quality gate. Now the next one was ordering samples. You kept ordering samples until you were happy with the product. You're on the right track here. Now the next step though is you sent them money before they ever showed you the products that they made. Could you imagine paying a contractor to fix your house and him paying you a bill before you ever walk inside and see how it did? It's a similar concept where the last quality gate here and the most important one is quality control. So had you mentioned to them that you wanted to have a quality control inspection company go and visit the factory and check the goods as they're being packed. Usually what an inspector will do is they'll schedule the visit to go when they are the goods are about 80% packed, so they can look at 20% of the unpacked goods, check them, but then also look at the packaging, which would have been great for you because the products were not good, but it sounds like the packaging wasn't either. So
Yeah.
that's one of the scary things, that if leaving that one tiny thing out has ruined your import. Can you tell me, like, Gary, you guys mentioned that you've been dealing with Alibaba's trade assurance because that's what you use to pay. What's been the experience so far, and are you trying to get money back of sorts, or how's this going?
Yeah, Jimmy's been dealing with it more than I have, but
Okay.
Which God bless him for that. But they've asked for. Alibaba was basically not interested in hearing us at first because they said that the deal was already done. We had received the products and the deal was finished, so they had no part in it. Jimmy pushed the issue and talked about the point of trade assurance is to protect the buyer, and you guys vouched for this supplier on your site, and they asked for pictures. I don't know what else did they ask for. They asked for pictures of every brush that was defective.
Yeah, so they asked for pictures of every item was defective, and we imported we considered it a test order, but 1,000 units, and they actually wanted pictures. We estimated about 900 were defective or damaged in shipping, and so I ended up taking about 450 pictures of defective units, which it ate up a lot of time. But with that said, long story short, Alibaba said, "Yeah, you guys do have a case. This supplier never should have sent these goods. This is not up to quality. We don't want people like this selling." And they vouched for us. Went to the supplier, and basically, I think convince the supplier to do some kind of a deal with us so that that supplier wouldn't be banned from Alibaba or severely punished somehow. I don't know how Alibaba does it, but punished for what they did. And we're tiny little fish, and we weren't spending a whole lot of money. But long story short, I think we're gonna get 50% back, cash back. So that's good for us. We can still sell some of the units, not as much as we would prefer to sell, but I think probably from what I've heard, and Gary can probably attest to this too, but this is not the norm. Most people that get ripped off like this, they don't get anything. They have a bunch of trash sitting in their warehouse and no money in their pocket, and so.
Yeah.
I feel like we were a bit more diligent. My full-time job is actually in strategic sourcing and IT sourcing, so technology sourcing, and so I'm used to dealing with really hard to deal with people all day long, and so I just never gave up. I don't think most importers are like that. So, yeah,
That's interesting. So, essentially, if you look back on it, I mean, if I were to ask you the question if we can go back in time, would you use a quality control company? Of course, the answer is yes. But for people who are questioning, is it worth it to use a QC company or not? You can really just look at this one case, because you took 450 photos of of defective products. And
Yeah.
And then
that wasn't even all of them. That wasn't even all of them. I kept going. I wanted to.
450 individual photos of a product just to prove to the Alibaba trade assurance that your products are defective.
Right.
It's a tough situation, because you only got 50% back. What do you think you'd use trade assurance again, or if you could do this all over again, what would be the route that you would go?
I don't know, Gary. What do you think?
Well, I think trade assurance was the only thing that saved us at all in this case. So, I mean, they did, with some prodding, listen to us, and 50% is enough. We'll make money on this deal still. Even if we had not gotten any money back or any replacements, we probably would have broken even. So, with the good units that we did get,
Okay.
because of the profit margin that was built into this product. So, I would use trade assurance unless there was another better option out there. I mean, I wouldn't, use it exclusively without using a service as well. But it certainly wouldn't hurt to have it as a backup. It didn't cost us anything to use it,
Right.
And it did in this case help.
How did it feel when you first contacted Trade Assurance, James, and they told you, well, the deal is already done. You guys are SOL.
That was awful. It was. It was. Yeah, it was no fun, because here, Gary knows. I put together the contract. Again, that's the type of stuff I do all day long. I put together contracts, and I put together the contract. It was solid. Basically, the supplier was on the hook for any defective delivery. That was all wrapped up into trade assurance. So we felt, basically, when we fired off the money back in the summer, we said, if anything goes wrong, it doesn't really matter, because we'll get all of our money back. So that was what we thought, because the contract was solid, trade assurance looked solid. So what we found is the one loophole is that trade assurance does not cover the order if you don't do some type of on-site check. And so that was the one loophole. We did not do an on-site check. And so, looking back on it, if we bought through Alibaba again, would we use trade assurance? Yeah, we definitely would. But with that said, we'd hire somebody to go do an on-site check, and that, just to save us that headache. Again, I don't think most people are like me. I don't think most people would have kept going. They wouldn't have kept trying to get their money back. And so, with that said, I think most people would have said, this import thing is not for me. And so, I believe, if we did this again, we'd still probably do a lot of research on Alibaba. We'd find the right product, but I definitely, Gary and I have discussed it. We would definitely use somebody in China to help us out, to check the goods, to even interface with the supplier. It's just not worth the headache. If you're trying to import, it's not worth the headache.
On top of the amount of time that you spent sourcing for these products, checking the sampling and all of this stuff, how many additional hours do you think you spent dealing with this product?
Me personally,
both of you.
Yeah, well, I guess me personally, you're dealing with the supplier, or dealing with Alibaba, or dealing with unpacking and photographing all these pictures. I mean, I would probably say over a month's time, I spent maybe 2 or 3 hours a day, working on stuff like this.
Okay.
So
will this be a payoff though? I mean, is this gonna make you earn more than your full-time profession?
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. It's a good learning experience, but I work full time, and this is all after hours, and that's time I can't get back for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a learning experience. Absolutely. I feel sorry for you guys, but I'm sure if you do James, if you do have the drive to keep going with this and you can find a solution to allow you to keep moving forward and build this business while you're not spending these, an entire extra month just dealing with stuff on top of the actual sourcing, hopefully this will allow you to grow, because it seems like you have a good partner here. I mean, Gary definitely has some experience in selling on Amazon, so it sounds like you guys are in a good position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're full steam ahead. Right now, and we're sourcing a product actually here in the U.S. right now. We're still planning on seconds and thirds from China, and so we're full steam ahead. This one's not going to upset us, but with that said, we will be more careful and use I mean, we're going to use a service. I mean, we're going to use somebody to go in and take a look at stuff for us.
Awesome. Well, it's good to hear that at least you're now you made the mistake. Hopefully this never happens again, and you can at least learn from it. So it is a valuable mistake that you made, but. I want to thank you guys so much, and I do want to let people know, and especially you guys, that thankfully our new service is going to validate your product idea. It's going to find the best suppliers. We're going to provide quality control, and we're going to get your products to Amazon so things like this never happen, and so much more. So, plus, something that I do want to mention is that we are going to give you a special opportunity to boost your ranking, your BSR, and get you organic reviews, and this is not even close to gaming the system or giving away products. So you're going to be able to sell your products without knocking it down to 99 cents. You're not going to have to pay hundreds of dollars for marketing. This is an awesome new service that we will be including into our services, and it's going to be exciting. So the goal of this is to make running your business easy, and I know you guys are going to love it. I hope you guys can stick with it, and we can follow you in your progress as well as you can follow us in making your business easy. So on that note, I do want to say thank you again, and stay tuned for next email. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Thanks.